The journey towards self-determination of Indigenous Anglicans within the Anglican Church of Canada has not been without struggles and decades of work. In my studies in theology, I discovered a document called A New Agape, which was written in 2001, which outlined the clear goals of commitment to reconciliation, collaboration in a mutually respectful environment. The first goal of this document was self-determination. So I asked the question, what are the internal and external barriers that are impeding self-determination of Indigenous Anglicans in the Anglican Church of Canada? First of all, I looked at two external reports because one cannot address injustice within the church without addressing injustice within wider Canadian society. Both reports confirmed that there has been patterns of not addressing long-standing injustice in Canada, broken promises, apathy, and indifference in tackling Indigenous concerns, which impact individuals and whole communities. There's a barrier in developing new relationships and respectful partnerships. And this is after patterns of domination and attempted assimilation. Basic needs are not being met. Things like water, housing, education, and healthcare, they are inadequate. I then looked at internal barriers. Throughout the world, there is a rapid process of decolonization taking place. So today in the 21st century, Indigenous Anglicans here in Canada are insisting on a different future, and they have voiced their frustration with the slow progress towards justice, healing, and the right to take control over their own futures in their congregations and in their communities. Indigenous self-determination is hampered by the assumptions of a Western colonial framework. There is no place for racism, attitudes of ethnic superiority at all levels of church governance. Continued diligence is needed in word and deed within the church. A new agape has been used, but not to its fullest potential. Their fear of change is a barrier in self-determination. There's a need for autonomy in terms of running Indigenous programs, and fiscal shortfalls are a barrier. Short-term funding in Indigenous communities and their programs will not bring about sustainable change. Room needs to be made for Indigenous ways of thinking about ministry, development, and mission. Therefore, the journey to self-determination is incomplete. Self-determination of Indigenous Anglicans within the Anglican Church of Canada has been achieved in part, with more yet to come. Thank you.